A key characteristic of autocracies is that the media is under the control of the leader. That is a pretty consistent system that you see in autocracies. But what people don't realize is the way in which that comes about. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes a little bit of time to evolve. And the way it evolves is actually a mutual process. Because on the one hand, you have the leadership starting to threaten and scare some media outlets. They don't need to do it to too many, just one or two. And the rest of them, through fear and weakness, basically fall into line. Some of them fall into line before anyone's even threatened. And this is exactly what we have seen happening in the US. If we think back to Trump's inauguration, even before he was inaugurated, Amazon Prime had agreed to make a documentary with Melania Trump and paid her $40 million for a documentary. This is somebody who's not got any history of making documentaries, who hasn't got any reason to attract that kind of money for anything, and yet she was given tens of millions of dollars. It's basically a bribe to the Trump family. ABC were being sued by Trump for something that George Stephanopoulos said, which was entirely fact-based. They were challenging it in court, but as soon as Trump won the election, they decided to settle out of court and give the Trump family $10 million. Again, another way to sort of show compliance and capitulate preemptively to the Trump administration. And then we saw other acts taking place that were even more overt, essentially bowing down, kowtowing to the Trump administration, saying, yes, you are our masters now. And so, for example, the owners of MSNBC, Comcast, soon after Trump won the election, decided that they were going to sell off MSNBC because it was clearly a critical media outlet that was being honest and open about the flaws in Trump and his administration, and they couldn't accept that being on their books anymore, so they led to trying to sell it off. Paramount had then decided to actually start to censor its own programming. So, one particular show that was regularly critical of Trump was Stephen Colbert. And he's been going on for over a decade. And this show, The Late Show, has been going on since David Letterman. So for decades, it's been a mainstream staple of the American entertainment menu. It's been what people have expected on a regular basis for literally decades. It's been a part of the furniture and fabric of American television and culture. And yet, after persistent attacks on Trump, which Colbert of course makes, he's generally progressive and certainly satirical at all times about everybody, his show has been cancelled, and dramatically overnight, which was a shock to him as well as to all his fans, of which there are hundreds of millions around the world. They just pulled it because they were worried about Trump. They were self-censoring. This is preemptive capitulation. And then, the other night, Jimmy Kimmel, another popular late-night comedian and show host, my favourite actually of all of the late-night comedian hosts, said this.
He had some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. Okay. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. There's demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay?
Now, tell me if that is in any way inciting violence. Tell me if that is in any way a dangerous political incitement. In fact, It's actually pretty funny, and it's quite accurate too. This seems to be how Trump grieves, just like a toddler. I made a video about that, how a lot of his characteristics, a lot of his personality are very toddler-like. And yet, it was on that basis, it was because of that they said they're going to cancel his show from now on. Just based on that, they were basically looking for something that they could use to cancel him. Why? Because they're afraid. His owners, the owner of the Kimmel show, which is again ABC, has decided to preemptively capitulate to Trump. So this is a dance that the media organizations are in. They feel threatened. All they care about really is their bottom line. Any principle they have, even the principle of democracy, can fall by the wayside the minute their bottom line is affected, and the minute any possible threat arrives from the government. So they actually stand for and believe in nothing. They are hollow, vacuous organizations. And that's how preemptive capitulation works. Just a little subtle hint here and there is all it takes for people to fall by the wayside and do what they're told. And of course, that intimidation of the media is happening openly by Trump. Here's an example from the White House alone just the other day.
President Trump that a president in office should be engaged in so much business activity.
Well, I'm really not. My kids are running the business. I'm here. You know what the activity, where are you from?
I'm from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, Four Corners program.
Well, the Australians, you're hurting Australia, right? In my opinion, you are hurting Australia very much right now. And they want to get along with me. You know, your leader is coming over to see me very soon. I'm going to tell him about you. You set a very bad tone.
So he'll threaten, sue, cajole, force organizations and media outlets to do exactly what he wants. He's even suing Rupert Murdoch, his own biggest supporting media mogul for many years, because he allowed the Wall Street Journal to report on the Epstein files. So he doesn't have any actual allies at all, only people who he bullies and forces to fall in line. And all he needs to do is that to a few outlets, and the rest of them will just cower and hide in the darkness. That's exactly what is happening everywhere. This is how autocrats eventually dominate the entire public space and in the end control the whole of the megaphone that exists through media outlets. And that's exactly what we are seeing in the US. One by one, the dominoes are falling, and complete control of every pulpit, of every voice, of every megaphone is being handed over to Donald Trump and his administration. I hope you like my video. As a psychiatrist who loves politics and economics and philosophy, I love to make videos like this, and you can really help promote this video to other people and get it on your feed more by liking and commenting and subscribing to the video as well. We have a wonderful community of people here who comment and support each other through this very traumatic period of world history that we're going through right now. I also hope you consider becoming a subscriber to the channel and also subscribing to my e-newsletter. There's a link in the description, and that way we can stay in touch outside the channel, so you can keep abreast of all of the content that I'm making on an ongoing basis. The latest of which actually is my latest book called We the People. Very, very proud of this book. It's actually a novel, a fiction book written by myself and the famous award-winning author T.J. McGregor. Together we wrote a book about what the future might look like. Bit of a dystopian novel, but what might happen if autocracy goes to its next stage, AI predicting the potential end of humanity. I actually made a video about that, it really happened. And how things might pan out in this dystopian world, and actually how a band of committed, passionate, progressive people managed to change the trajectory, and not in the way that you think. It's not just by running a candidate and opposing the autocrat, but actually by deepening the democracy that we have and engaging in a real participatory form of democracy that sort of shifts the needle and gets us back to basics and helps us sort of rebuild our democracy. And that's within the context of a really compelling, gripping story, a bunch of fascinating characters, and I assure you, you will not be able to sort of stop turning the page until you get to the end of the book. That's what all the reviewers have said so far. Lots of people love it, and I hope you can get it. You can get it on Amazon, any of the global Amazon bookstores out there. Please do order your copy of We the People. Just put We the People Russell Razak and you'll be able to find it inside Amazon as well. Also, I hope you consider becoming a member of the channel. You can subscribe to a couple of different membership levels. All members of the channel also get some free ebooks that I produce once a month. You can buy those ebooks too from russellsbooks.com. That's russellsbooks.com, and every month I produce a new ebook on that channel, which is really about, these are the non-fiction books I produce with my team, which is really about how to learn about the world around us and the psychologies of the people who govern us, but also how to learn about ourselves, deepen our own self-awareness in a way that helps us navigate this difficult world we're in right now. So those are sort of self-help books that are produced every month, and if you're a member of the channel, you get a sort of 100% discount on those books every month. Otherwise, you can go to russellsbooks.com, as I say, and buy them anytime you like. I really hope you can become a part of this community, as I say. So this sort of supportive community, validating and helping each other, is really worth being a part of, and I hope you can join us as we all join forces to create a better tomorrow together. Thank you.